Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
Liberty, a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her, they've been feeling worse.
Turn it over to another agency. Let's get some help.
Where are your kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Chad, where are Lori's kids?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Hello, let me know if you can hear me, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe. If I could get everyone to just like the stream while we start off and do this audio check, that would be awesome too. And I'm just wait for someone in chat to let me know they hear me. I do want to play Ethan Chapin's mother's new interview that took place this morning on the Today Show. I'm just waiting for one of the ads to kind of finish so I can share the screen. Okay, thank you, Rebecca Hooper and Seema and everyone else for being here. Hi, Era. It's good to see you. And it's good to see everybody. This is going to be sort of like a free flowing live stream. Usually, if you guys have been here before, you know that I like to just kind of play stuff that I've organized, and some of them has been pre-recorded or edited together to be very smooth and streamlined. But today it's just going to be me kind of referencing my notes and just referencing a little bit of the documentary that I put together on the Idaho case. So if you haven't seen the documentary, it's on my channel. It's been out for a little over a week. And I'm just going to point out some stuff that I noticed while I was editing it. And then I also want to kind of talk about some of the rumors that have been going around in the case. And that's what it is. It's rumors and speculation. There is nothing that I've seen that's verified besides somebody told me this or so-and-so told me that. So it's a lot of hearsay. I do want to note that I'm a channel that likes to go down avenues that maybe you don't see on the mainstream media, or maybe law enforcement isn't out there preaching about. What I mean by that is, I have no problem going down avenues and rabbit holes of things that just are like, I don't know, just not the main theories, I guess you could say. So I have been jumping down rabbit holes all over YouTube and Facebook groups and Reddit, and I've been trying to kind of see if any of these theories actually stick in my mind. So I kind of want to talk about the theories a little bit, and I don't know if anyone in chat has been following those theories. Thank you, Tom N, so much for the super chat. Good morning, Amber, and all the ATS members. Hello, and it's good to see you again, Tom. I hope you've been doing well. So we've kind of just been away from this Idaho case. Besides my documentary I put together, we were busy with the Murdaugh trial. We got busy with Lori Vallow trial. Just a lot of different things going on that was, surrounding the Idaho case that I kind of just had to step away from because, News Nation and other platforms were just coming out with these stories every day of my source is this, my source is that. It just got to be too much. So I had to step away. But I'm back and I'm very deep in these rabbit holes, and I just wanted to talk about them with you guys. So let me just share Ethan's mother's interview first. We'll start there. This ad is still waiting to clear because it's through the website. You know how it is, guys. But 1 second. Have you guys seen these theories about Xana and Maddie flushing stuff down the toilet? And when I say stuff, I'm referring to, paraphernalia. I don't know, guys. I just think it's a fine line when we're going to talk about the victims in ways that we just have no proof of. I know a lot of people are believing that, maybe that Kopaka guy is involved in some way, shape, or form. I have yet to see, proof of that as well. I've seen, theories And I have no problem exploring those theories, but so far nothing's really sticking. So let me just switch gears a little bit and play this. This is Ethan's mother this morning talking about the book that she had wrote, I believe.
Of Idaho students who were killed last fall cope with this unimaginable grief. They are also finding touching ways to remember and honor their loved ones. In a moment, we're going to talk to Ethan Chapin's mom, Stacy. But
can you hear the Today news anchor before I keep playing? The audio should be shared, but I just want to make sure. Good morning, Flash, or Florida Bass Fishing. It's good to see you. Hi, Adrian, Ashley Oaks, everyone else who's joined. Thanks for being here. Hi, Shay Benet.
first, a closer look at the case and their tributes. More than 6 months have passed since the murders at King Road, when Ethan Chapin, his girlfriend Xana Kernodle, and best friends Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves were found stabbed to death in this house near the University of Idaho campus. A tense manhunt and weeks of painful waiting for the victims' families followed before police arrested their suspect in late December. Bryankohberger was pursuing his PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University, just miles from the scene of the murders. Investigators say DNA evidence, cell phone records, and video surveillance link him to the scene that night. Kohberger's trial is set for October, the judge entering a plea of not guilty for the 4 murders after Kohberger declined to enter one himself. Ethan Chapin's family has watched from afar while holding close their memories of a beloved son and brother.
He loved everybody and everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to be around him.
Ethan's parents, Stacy and Jim Chapin, are honoring him through a foundation named Ethan's Smile. It gives scholarships to local students to attend the University of Idaho.
That kid has touched more lives. We say in our family, if we touch as many lives as he did in his 20 years, this world would be a better place.
Ethan was a triplet. His 2 siblings still attend the university. This May, graduation ceremonies were bittersweet as the school awarded Ethan a posthumous certificate. And now, Stacy Chapin has written a children's book about Ethan called The Boy Who Wore Blue. A portion of the profits will also go to the foundation, Ethan's Smile. Okay. And Stacy Chapin joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's hard to watch those images of your beloved boy. How are you doing?
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's good, though. I mean, all things considered, we're doing very well.
Yeah. He was a triplet. He has a brother and sister. How are they doing?
Jim and I couldn't be more proud of them, to be honest with you. They went back to school. They had they finished successfully this semester. And now they're back at work in a place that they love. And we've called summer home for a long time. So they're in a safe, great environment, and they're doing amazing. I'm so proud of them. It's amazing.
I think people are about to find out what an extraordinary family you have, Stacy, and what an extraordinary boy Ethan was. You've written this book. It's called The Boy Who Wore Blue. Tell me about writing it and what made you decide to write this story?
It started with my best friend sent me a news release that was that an author had been given the rights to the story to tell of these kids. And I, as a mom, you're like, well, how does somebody write a story about people that they don't know, right? Right, about my kid. Yeah, I'm the one who's raised him, Jim and I. And it just sparked something in me. And the only thing I can explain to people how the book came about is I think it's like a country artist who goes through a breakup and writes their greatest hit. It literally just came to me in the middle of the night.
It's Ethan's song.
It's everything. Yeah, it's the best I can do for him.
I love The Boy Who Wore Blue. You had triplets, and you've learned in the book that when they were little, they used to each wear a color.
They did.
And that's how you told them apart when they were babies. And he was the one who wore blue.
He was the blue.
He was a very special young man. Everybody says it. Tell me about him.
Yeah. He was that way from the very beginning, to be honest. He was born happy. He was just magnanimous, kind of. I don't know really how to explain it. What we find more interesting is how many lives he touched that we didn't even know existed. It's incredible. I mean, I tell people if I touch as many lives in my lifetime as he did in 20 years, he just swarmed to every room. He had a wonderful smile.
I'm going to pause it for fair use and to kind of give my little take on this as well. I believe from the research that I did in the documentary, I don't know if she says it here or whatnot, but this is a new interview. And hello, Titanium Build and Roxanne and everyone who has joined us, and Pointer Lover. I wanted to thank Pointer Lover for sending me Cash App for the documentary I did. That was very kind of you, and I just wanted to give you a shout out and thank you again for that. Ethan was born first, I believe, of the three. So I always find birth order interesting when it comes to like twins and triplets. So Ethan was first. And I also read that he was just pretty much the other two triplets leaned on him a lot. So he was kind of like the rock for the other two triplets. So that was just something that I found interesting and touching to kind of read about in his obituary and whatnot. But yeah, this is, for those who have joined, this is his mother's new interview. She's speaking on the book that she wrote. And it's dedicated to Ethan, and it's called The Boy Who Wore Blue, because he was the triplet that wore blue. And thank you guys for being here.
You hearing those stories now, people are calling you and saying, I remember when Ethan did this or that.
Yes, or strangers.
Yeah.
The strangers have been amazing who have come up to us, and it always started the same way. You know, you don't know me, but I have this story to tell you. Yeah.
What does that do for you? Is it comforting? Is it hard to kind of share your grief with this high profile story and it's so public?
We learned our family has always tried to help everybody. And we came upon the Sigma Chi boys the morning after. And in that moment, we realized that not only, that it wasn't just, our family healed one way, but everybody needed to heal from this. And we saw it in an instant, kind of seeing all of his friends. And it's just gone from there. It's literally, we've been reached by people across the world. And it just, we can see that everybody needs to heal from it, and it feels good.
You have extraordinary strength. Yeah. You and your husband seem to have this resolve. You say, if people want to talk to you about it, it's okay to talk about.
Yes.
It's not the elephant in the room.
Yes.
You want to talk about Ethan.
Yes.
Where does that come from, that strength, when you're dealing with the unimaginable?
We just decided that, it has its moments, of course, right? But we get up every morning and we just decided that the best thing we can do is put our best foot forward, mostly for Maisie and Hunter. They deserve it. They didn't deserve this. And so they deserve still the best life that we can give them. And that is really our strength. It drives us. We literally get up and, have coffee and then say, all right, we're going to go forward.
I was so struck by something you wrote. It was on social media earlier this year. You said, we spend no time being angry. That would be energy not well spent.
Yep.
And it still wouldn't change the outcome.
Yep.
We have to look ahead.
Yes.
That's your philosophy.
Yes. It doesn't change the outcome. Even looking ahead at the trial coming up in October now, we choose to it does not change the outcome of our family, and it's energy that we need to put into healing our kids and, getting back to a new family dynamic and working on that. And so we let the prosecutors do their job, and we do our job in our family.
Do you think you'll come to the trial and attend it?
No.
Yeah. Too hard.
It doesn't change the outcome.
Yeah.
Wow, that shocks me. What about you guys? I'm stunned. I don't know, just from watching all these other trials. Maggie's sister in the Murdaugh trial, she was there, and just thinking about, JJ's grandparents, Kate and Larry. Kate and Larry, they were there every day. So that is very interesting. What do you guys think about them not wanting to go to the trial? Yeah, Delana says, "Oh wow, I would have to be there." Punksy's shocked by it too. I mean, they definitely, stand out as unique parents in this situation for sure. And I think that everyone who interviews them, like in all these stations, I think that they recognize that as well. Like I've seen a lot of them praise them for their strength and all that. And a lot of newscasters do that anyways when they're interviewing, but I don't know. There's just something about Ethan's family that just they stand out apart from the rest, and they're just very unique. And I give them a lot of credit, but that's just I'm stunned. Yeah, Pointer Lover said I would have to be there. Titanium said I think they want to remember Ethan before the murder, and I don't blame them. It's just, and plus you think about having to look at, Bryan Kohberger and go through the stuff that all these people go through. I mean, Larry Woodcock got like lightheaded, like an ambulance had to be called one day for Larry because it was just overwhelming. The stuff that they were discussing that day in court and all that, like in reference to the Lori Vallow trial. It takes a toll on them. And there's parents who go through trials who go through it like a battle, and they say, this is our goal. This is what we're aiming for. Like, we have to get through this. Hello, Jody is cool. And then once the trial's over, they're kind of at like a standstill. Like they don't know what to do now because their fight is over. But here we see people who are just not interested at all, and they just have faith in the justice system and all that. So it's just very interesting. I did not expect that at all.
It just is energy that doesn't feel like it's well spent. There's other places to put it. So.
Ethan, as we said, was such an extraordinary young man, one of those light up the room type of people.
Yep.
What would you want the world to know about him? Now they know his name. What do you want them to know about him?
Honestly, I think the world sees it in the photos. I mean, he's become this just, look at him. We're looking at his pictures. He was just the greatest kid. Everybody loved him. He was warm. He was inclusive. He was the kid you wanted to hang out with, anywhere he was. He would play any sport. He'd play any cribbage game. I mean, he just was always game to participate in anything with a big smile and a warm heart. Mm-hmm. He was kind.
Wow.
Yeah.
We can see where he gets a lot of those attributes from your family, a wonderful, supportive family. And I just have to show people you have the most beautiful new tattoo on your arm. Can we show it? It's his handwriting. I love you, Mom. Ethan. It's beautiful.
It's from McCarty.
From McCarty gave you.
Yeah.
Stacey, thank you so much. Highly encourage people to hear Ethan's story, The Boy Who Wore Blue.
Yep.
As his mother tells it.
Yep.
Stacey,
thank you
so much. And you can find out more about the book and other ways that Stacey and Jim, her husband, are honoring Ethan's memory. It's on our website, today.com.
That was very touching, and I don't know about anyone else, but my eyes definitely watered up. I also read on the Today website before I played this, I read like the article based on this interview, and it had said something along the lines of the other twin, his brother, Hunter, pretty much said that, they're going through things that are just new to them without their other triplet, and I guess one of the big things that was kind of new for Hunter was he'd never gone through a drive-through by himself. And it's just like the little thing like that to me just like stood out and was like, that's just so sad. You know what I mean? Like that was something that they did together. They go get fast food just like, a lot of us do with our family, or, so just hearing that something as simple as going through the drive-through was something that Hunter had never done before by himself. That was obviously an activity that he and his brother did together, probably after sports or whatnot, so to me, that was just sort of like, aw, but just amazing the way that we see the families, in all this. It's sad. Yeah. Lady Sarah said she's very brave. I can't imagine what they initially went through and must still endure. The trial will be tough. Yep. Now, since we were talking about Ethan and his parents, again, this live stream is just me pointing out some stuff that I noticed while I was editing, etc. And also I'm going to tie in the rumors and the speculation and all that's been going around too. So as I'm pointing out stuff that has stood out to me, I kind of am referencing it to, the theories and the speculations that are going on. And I don't mean any disrespect, because I know, even when I'm looking in these other chats and live streams of people speculating and going down avenues that, just is not mainstream, I guess you could say. I see people who tune into my show and who comment on my stuff. And actually, some of my moderators have their own channels and they're exploring these different theories. And I have respect for everyone's research. And I think everyone has something to bring to the table. And I would be hypocritical if I said, speculation and all that is, I don't believe in all that. Like, because my channel, I built it on the Watts case and the fact that I just felt like we weren't given the truth in that case. And that case ended in a plea deal. We did not get a trial. So I didn't get to see all the evidence laid out. And this side said this and this side said that. We were given the discovery and police interviews and body cam footage, and then we just combed through it like every single day. CDT and I don't know if you guys knew us back then. If you have, let me know in chat. Good morning, Alex Erickson. It's good to see you. But yeah, we combed through that case from front to back. We went through every page of the discovery. We went through every single interview, and we started comparing, certain notes didn't match the verbal interviews. And, there was just a lot of questions. So I would be hypocritical if I said, I don't support these people who are sitting all day for hours on end speculating. But then I think about it too, and I'm like, but the Watts case was a closed case. So to me, it's like, as much as I did this as well in other cases, I do think it's a little different with this case still being active. Like somebody in a Facebook group said something like, I think Brian is totally innocent, blah, blah, blah. And I gave them the thumbs up response, like the emoji. And they said, thumbs up, like you agree with me or you disagree. And I said, I need to see it all laid out in trial first. And they said, I totally respect that response. And that's where I stand. Like, I think that the arrest affidavit is very solid. I think that there's been experts who have come out and said, this is, a treasure trove of information. I've never seen an affidavit like this before. They've given us so much information, pages on pages. And I compare it to, other cases like the Watts affidavit, which was only 3 pages long. And a huge part of it was redacted, like it just had black all over it, specifically in reference to Chris's mistress. It was all blacked out and kept private from the public. And in fact, the media had to pretty much beg the county to give the affidavit to, it wasn't freely given, like we've seen in the Idaho case. So if I'm going to compare transparency and stuff like that, I've seen a lot of transparency in this Idahofour case. And that's just my opinion. Now, when I hear the speculation and stuff about, this audio that was out there, and then all of a sudden the audio gets deleted by the channel, to me, and I hope you guys know this, I feel like you do, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't a critical thinker like myself, but that's just kind of red flag behavior. You guys understand that, right? And I say this stuff about mainstream as well. Like I said, I had to step away from this case in general because of, you guys know the reporters that have been out there every single day, our source is this and our sources tell us that he's eating this food. And I don't care what he's eating in prison or what your sources have to say, especially after the gag order just got out of control. I had to step away. So it's not that I just follow what the mainstream and what law enforcement is telling us. I criticize all angles, and I hope you guys realize that too. But now going through the documentary and editing, I did see some parts where I was like, that's interesting given the fact of the rumors that are out right now. Okay. So the murders took place on the 13th, early in the morning. I'm reading from the transcript of Ethan's parents' first interview, which was on the 16th. So only 3 days into the investigation. Ethan's mother says, the things that are being said are 100% not true. There's not drugs involved. There's not some weird love triangle. Ethan was just stayed the night at his girlfriend's house, who was one of 5 girls who lived in the home. So as I'm editing and I'm listening to, these rabbit holes and so dumped this down the toilet and it was Xana's and blah, 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 like all these rumors. And I say to, the people who are like saying these rumors, because I'm in private chats behind the scenes too. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, please sum this up to me, because I don't have time to sit through 3 hours of somebody talking in circles. So I contact the people that I trust, like who are following these rabbit holes, where is this coming from? And they tell me hearsay. So-and-so said it to so-and-so, or so-and-so heard it from so-and-so. And it's like, come on, guys. Like I can't stand on hearsay pretty much. But what I will say is that conversation 3 days into the investigation from his mother, I mean, there were already rumors of drugs being involved in some weird love triangle, So to me, like when I went through editing stuff, and I was like, where did that come from though? Like already, like the mother saying there's not drugs involved, there's not some weird love triangle. I don't know. Like sometimes rumors do have a little touch of truth in them. You know what I mean? So I am not ignorant to the fact that sometimes rumors have truth behind them. Okay. And you guys can see that interview in my documentary with the mother saying that. And that was 3 days into the investigation. November 16th, she was already trying to debunk rumors of drugs being involved in a love triangle, which I thought was super weird. Because, like, where would a love triangle rumor come from? But I guess that's how rumors happen. They just come out of nowhere. Tom said very transparent compared to the shady Delphi story. And there's a lot of examples that we can kind of go back and say, like, well, look at this and look at that. Like, I just feel like, and good morning, CDT. It's good to see you. And thank you, Tom, for that. And I agree. And there's more than just the Watts case and other cases that have shown way less transparency than the Idaho case. But at the same time, I have noticed while I was editing this, I'm like, the information that law enforcement gave us really wasn't a lot. Like they did give us bits and pieces. But before this gag order, it was sort of like a lot of questions. And even when I went back and like looked at first media reports, and I included it in my documentary where they say, the crime of passion, the mayor spoke out and said it was a crime of passion. And, it took them a little bit to do that first press conference. Do you guys remember the date of the first press conference? But I don't it's easy to look up, but from what I remember around that time is people were annoyed that it took them kind of a minute to kind of do a press conference. And here we had the coroner and the mayor speaking out. And, when in the documentary, one of the newscasters says, earlier the mayor wanted to set something straight. He didn't say it is a crime of passion. He said it could be a crime of passion. And it's like, the mayor needs to just stop talking. Another thing that I noticed going back through things was the fact that the university was very quick to put out a statement too. And it just, I see where people get the angle of like the university didn't want this to be out there and it would make them look bad, blah, blah, blah. Like I can totally get on board with that. I could see that happening. I could see them wanting people to still enroll and let's keep this as quiet as we can. And it just got out of their control. I could see that. I'm not saying that that's what happened 100%, but still. So let me just get back to this audio that was out there and then it disappeared. So sometimes when I'm in a rabbit hole or if I'm just going around and around with my own thoughts, I'll reach out to somebody who I know who's a federal law enforcement agent, and I won't say what branch he's in and I won't say how I know him, but he's active and he's kind of new in his career, but at the same time, he's got a lot of wisdom as well. I'm just scrolling through my conversation with him to kind of get back to where I asked him questions about this case, because I really don't like to bother him on things, but when I see people kind of speculating about things that law enforcement are doing, I kind of have to touch base with him and be like, is this weird or is this kind of protocol? So just give me a second to scroll back. Okay. I said, people keep saying there's leaked audio from the night of the murders, but really it's just people making clickbait, I think. Because if there was leaked audio, it wouldn't be going around YouTube and social media like TikTok, right? It would be scrubbed or something like that, right? And he said, whatever is listed in the actual court documents is what they have. Now, we have listed in the affidavit that audio from the camera that's mounted on the neighbor's yard or neighbor's door area, right? And it says, oh, it heard barking and it heard whimpers and it heard crying. It heard a thud. So that's the audio that we know of. This leaked audio that was out there and then it was debunked and then somebody else put another one out there. It's just, I just hope people are realizing, like, you realize that this isn't like real leaked audio. This isn't evidence that they have. So I just wanted to state that that was his opinion on any audios that are being leaked. They only have the audio so far. Now, the other thing is, isn't Brian's defense claiming the prosecution has evidence that they haven't shared with them or something like that? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because remember, I've been in the loop, but also out of the loop. So then I said, question. So the arrest affidavit for Idahofour case, remember you read through it because I did send it to him and he did read it. It was talking about his vehicle in it, and it kept saying suspect vehicle 1 traveled, yada, yada. People keep saying, why are they naming it suspect vehicle 1? Like, they're trying to theorize that they are saying it means more than one vehicle. Now, again, this is just me asking his opinion about the affidavit. And he said, and I said, does this mean, I said, like, they're trying to say it means there's more than one suspect or it means more. And he said, no, just describing whose vehicle it is. And I said, like, people say, why label it suspect vehicle 1? Does that mean they have more or they think there's more? And he said, like, could be this is suspect's car and another could be victim vehicle 1. And I said, like, if they had notes about the crime scene where other vehicles are, they might label them. Vehicle 1 was parked on the north side of the house or whatever. And he said, yeah, just a way to make it more organized, I think. And I said, people are reading into stuff so much for clicks. It's so annoying. And he said, like, when they're doing investigation, they're like, okay, this will be labeled this. Maybe there's another vehicle, maybe there's not. And I said, right, so it could mean there's a suspect vehicle 2, blah, blah, but it could also just be to organize the notes as well. And I said, they've made no other arrests. And he said, yeah, it's to try to make it as easy to follow as possible for the judge and the jury. And I said, so in case they add another vehicle or another suspect, that would be suspect vehicle 2. And he liked that comment, like how you can like somebody's text or whatever. And I said, or just to make it one and only suspect, so it's suspect vehicle 1. And he said, in case there's more. And I said, when Kohberger was arrested, he said, did you arrest anyone else? And his opinion of that was he probably thought they didn't have any evidence on him. So that was just his take on the audio that's leaked and his take on the affidavit stating Kohberger's car is suspect vehicle 1. Because like I said, I've been in these chats, I've been listening to the talk, and certain things that are said do kind of stick out to me. Like, I thought that was a fair thing to kind of bring up that I heard. I can't remember whose chat it was, but they said, why would they list his vehicle as suspect vehicle 1? And now this opinion of somebody who works in the field on the federal level is saying just to make it as easy as possible for the judge and jury. But he's also saying, it could mean that they would eventually down the line through their investigation or whatever say, and this here is suspect vehicle 2's car and it was traveling blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was interesting because, it's either just to make it as simple as possible, or it's leaving it open in case, they investigate more and they're able to label another vehicle as suspect vehicle 2. But that has yet to happen. There hasn't been any other arrests. So I just think that that's noteworthy, So while I was kind of listening to the speculation being said about, this and that, in reference to why did they label it this in the affidavit and not just suspect vehicle, why was it number or vehicle 1, blah, 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 I just thought that I would bring to you guys the perspective of somebody who, does this for a living pretty much. So I found that interesting. And then that way, once the investigation continues, if there is more, the judge and the jury will see, okay, this will be suspect vehicle 2. But that just hasn't happened yet. But it is noteworthy and interesting that Bryan did say, have they arrested anybody else? And now in the documentary, I showed the interview with his first public defender. And yeah, Tom, and I see what you mean. I think there is only one, too many reading too much. And that's what I think too. Like every line in that affidavit has been picked apart so much that like even parts where it's like you're picking apart this one word when the whole context is actually like important too. Like for example, the Xana received the DoorDash order. I understand that it says received and it doesn't say she delivered or she ordered the DoorDash order that was delivered. But the whole context of that part in the affidavit is in reference to the person who said, there's somebody here. So the whole point of saying, which we believe could be Xana because she received the DoorDash order, that is why they stated she received, like they're saying she could have said it because she had just received this DoorDash order. Now the affidavit isn't trying to prove it's not a forensic data pull from Xana's phone or the DoorDash information. So there's no reason for them to put, which we believe could have been Xana because she ordered and received a DoorDash order. Like they don't need to put she ordered and received it. They put she received it because they're only referencing that could have been her who said that. Remember Dylan heard somebody say she heard somebody say there's someone here, which she thought was Kaylee. But in the notes affidavit, they're saying, well, Xana just received a DoorDash order, so it could have been her. But people are saying like, see, they said she received it. They didn't say she ordered it. It's like this affidavit isn't a direct pull from her phone information. This affidavit is just to prove that they have enough or they feel there's enough to arrest Bryankohberger. It's not here to prove who ordered or whatever the DoorDash order. Now, on the other hand, I do think that that's interesting, and it was pointed out to me in my comment section. She received the order. She didn't order the order, it says. That's true. But at the same time, like that's not something that they would put in an affidavit, arrest affidavit towards Bryankohberger. Like they don't need to prove who ordered. Like I get why they read into that. And you know what? I'm not going to say that it's that she didn't order the DoorDash order. I'm just saying the fact that it says she received the DoorDash order doesn't really mean to me that means that it's possible that someone else like ordered it for her. Do you know what I mean? Like the only reason why they put received the DoorDash order was because they were saying the person who said there's someone here could have been Xana because they knew she was still up or that she had been up. But I think that's interesting, and I do take in everything you guys say, and those who disagree with me, I read your comments and I think about it. And I thought that was interesting for them to point out. They never said she ordered the DoorDash order. They're just saying she received it. And it's like, I get that, but this affidavit isn't about the DoorDash order. So to read into it is interesting, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes people read into things that is just like, yeah, but I mean, this isn't about the DoorDash order. So they didn't really need to put that in there. In time, we will find out who ordered that DoorDash order for sure. 100%. I do think that the timing of the DoorDash order is very interesting and suspicious. I'm not going to lie. It's right at that time. But I just think that sometimes there are people who are looking into things that are just like, yeah, but I mean, this is an arrest affidavit. This isn't the discovery. This isn't a police interview. This isn't a data pull from their forensics of the phone. But like I said, I am totally open to everyone's thoughts, opinions, theories. It could be this, it could be that. I'm not saying that she didn't order it. I just think it's possible. Yeah, exactly, Melissa J. I think either or is possible. We can't definitively say one or the other. Yeah, it's just one of those things that we're all on the edge of our seats, and will easily be explained in trial, and we'll see who ordered the DoorDash order. You know what I mean? The delivery person of the DoorDash order to me is interesting too, because we're hearing it's rumors that it's this Emma girl and blah, blah, blah. I need to see more evidence. I need to see it. Just like, when we went through the Murdaugh trial, I was not convinced that he did that himself. I thought that he would hire someone to do his dirty work, blah, blah, blah. The more I got to know Alex and the more I got to see things, like when they did his GPS pings and they noticed that he was going 82 miles per hour on his way back to the house, I started realizing, like, okay, so he's trying to make up for time, which is why he's speeding here, so it all just kind of made sense. The theories that are going out there now, like, I am totally down to listen, but nothing's really sticking to me. Like, nothing is sticking. Like, I remember going down rabbit holes for the Watts documentary and listening, somebody sending me this live stream of this woman who she's still to this day, you guys might know who I'm talking about. She still to this day thinks that Watts is 100% innocent. He knew nothing about blah, 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 blah. But I listened to her and I was like, what does she have to say? And some of the things she pointed out got me thinking. And it wasn't me thinking in the same direction of her, but something sparked something in my head. And I was like, wait a minute. I remember in this interview, XYZ took place. And that kind of aligns with what she's saying here, blah, blah, blah. So it did kind of spark my thoughts and all that. So I will listen to these theories and stuff, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. Nothing is really sticking. Like, I get that, college students party and they might have had drugs in the house, but people are saying that cartels are involved and that the cartel's involved in the hit. And like, since when do cartels use a Marine issued, military issued knife? Like, I'm sorry, but don't they use like automatic weapons and stuff? I'm not trying to just discredit other people's theories, because I really am listening with an open mind, and you guys know I have an open mind, but I'm just I'm not hearing anything that's like, oh, yep, wow, nothing like that. The other thing that I noticed also, obviously by editing the documentary and just from reviewing the case, is he was just so sure that he would be he was going to be exonerated, and that his defense has stated that they have exculpatory evidence, right? And we're all on the edge of our seat wondering, like, what is that going to be like? And yes, oh my gosh, good point, Pointer Lover. The cartel wouldn't leave any witnesses. Yeah, they're not going to go in there and leave two Lola said cartel is a bored housewife theory. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I agree. Yeah. Somebody even said in this one, just like, what? That it was a drug stash house. Why would they choose a sorority house that has close ties to the university that we've seen how many times had police roll up there? We at least seen 2-3 times body cam footage of police at the house. They're not going to pick a house that like is so free flowing of people and all that going in and out as a stash house, which I didn't even know what a stash house was, because any not that I live this lifestyle, but anything that I know about that lifestyle, like they're not like stashing it like at somebody else's house. Like they're keeping it very close or in a storage unit that they've rented or an apartment that they've rented where they have the key only. And you know what I mean? Like it's not like a house that has like, because remember there was a roommate who lived there who wasn't even there on like, remember the 6th roommate or whatever people were talking about? So they're just going to have this house free flowing and people going in and out. Like, come on, people. It's just not making sense. But like I said, I'm not trying to badmouth any channels. I think everyone has something to offer, but I do think that some of this speculation is just kind of harmful and stupid. I'm sorry. It's just kind of like, come on. These kids, if they're involved in stuff like that, are they finishing college? No. Anyone knows that gets wrapped up in that type of lifestyle and stuff, like they're not graduating college. They're not in sororities. Yeah. So hold on. Let me look through my notes still. I do have timestamps. The timing that Xana's father changed the locks on the doors, I do find that interesting. That was another thing that I kind of wanted to go back over and kind of talk about with you guys. It was interesting. These kids were not pushing cartel drugs or storing them, maybe making some OnlyFans content, but not pushing cartel drugs, probably smoking pot and doing some, but not pushing and storing. I agree. I mean, it's got to be just a typical usage of, recreational use of stuff that college students do. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Callie said there's a lot of reaching going on. There's a lot of reaching, and I think that it's like there's other things to talk about. Like I know that this topic gets a lot of views and clicks and all that, but like that's the problem too in a way, because viewers I hope they realize that like, until we get more information through the courts and whatnot, like this going around and around, like, I don't know. Especially when people are putting out leaked audio and then they're deleting it the next day. Like if it was so good, if the information was so groundbreaking, like why are you deleting it? And that's the thing too, guys, is, and a lot of people don't know this, but like when you delete a video, but you've already gotten like 74,000 views on it, etc., for like a day or whatever, you've made ad revenue off those views. So as the creator, it means absolutely nothing to their pocket to delete it because they've already made like money off of it. So they made their money and now they can get rid of it. And hopefully they hope that they can move on with their channel and people won't, point out the fact that, oh, well, what about this video? Blah, blah, blah. Tom N says U.S. Marshals and Texas Rangers were involved in this initial investigation. They don't miss. Quick arrest because they had 2 towns on lockdown, in my opinion. I think for sure, especially through re-editing all this, they had their eyes on Bryan for a while. And we know that because of the search warrant on his parents' home stated something about them, surveying him for a while. So yeah, I think so too. Lamb's Bond 007. It's like, how do we talk about these victims like that without seeing proof of, them being drug dealers? Like, come on. And the families too. Like, just think about what they're thinking. Like, everyone talking about them like this. Yeah, don't cartels ambush with guns. Yeah. Like automatic weapons and stuff. Like they have insane ways of weapon, or you know what I mean. I'm just scrolling through comments, guys. If I missed like a super chat, thank you so much, or anything like that, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of rambling over here looking at my notes. Let me go through. I'm looking through now. The thing about, remember when the HVAC truck was there? Because I started thinking about this whole, oh, so-and-so flushed them down the toilet. We never saw like a plumber there or anything like that. We saw the HVAC truck there. So that was kind of noteworthy and interesting. Why are they looking through the vents? Were they pulling DNA like from blood that dripped or something? We just don't know. But people flushing stuff down the toilet, like, doesn't that only happen in movies? Now looking through, and now I do want to make it clear, like, when I'm talking about the clicks and views, like, we talked about that with mainstream media too. So I'm not trying to say that, only watch what they're putting out on Dateline, blah, blah, blah. Like, I still thought that Dateline information was kind of sketch too, because anytime you're like, our sources close to the investigation with a gag order, it's like, what sources are leaking stuff that are close to the investigation? Like, that's just wrong to do, but it happens. But who's doing it, So it's just very interesting and suspicious from all angles, not just these channels who want you to click and view them every single day. Like, oh, we have this and that. My opinion on Emma Bailey, I think that it's crazy that I just heard that they dropped her charges or something in reference to that OD that took place from something she sold somebody, and her charges got dropped. I think that's absolutely wrong. I don't know why they dropped the charges, but I haven't seen any connection with her and like everyone else. Have I missed it? Let me know, because I just have not seen anything concrete there. But I do find, that business and whatever she was doing wrong, obviously. And it happens a lot nowadays, and people need to be held accountable. If you're selling this and that and somebody dies, you will be held accountable as the person who sold it. Now I want to know also, we have the body cam footage from 3 traffic stops of bryankohberger. We don't have the body cam of the police, or the stop that they did of him with the seatbelt violation. Remember that, guys? So they had stated that took place, which I noticed through editing, in August. Let me just drink some coffee, guys, because I'm rambling and I really need it. Now I have to microwave it. So give me a second, guys. 1 second. All right, I told you guys this was going to be a super laid back live. Normally, I'm not doing this like, oh, give me a second. It's usually, more organized, etc. But now the other thing that I thought was sort of noteworthy that I heard going on in these other chats was when they're talking about the car, the white vehicle, and they name it as, we'd like to talk to the occupant, and then in parentheses they have an S for like more than one occupant of this vehicle. Now, I think that it's noteworthy and interesting that, they did put the S in parentheses as if there is more than one occupant of the vehicle. Is that just another thing that people are overanalyzing, or is that actually, put there on purpose? Did they think there was more than one occupant, etc.? I thought that was noteworthy, and I will say that was some interesting speculation, and I could get on board with them maybe thinking there was more in there, or there was more. I don't know. But I think that was an interesting point that somebody pointed out. Looking through. Okay. And also, obviously, we want to know through that audio that was given to us of Hoodie Guy and Kaylee and Maddie, when he says they're going to get you for this. What did you tell Adam? I told Adam everything. And then a couple hours later, the murders take place. I think that, that's strange. Obviously, we want to know what was said to Adam. I know that Steve Gonsalves has come out and said that was nothing, blah, 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 and kind of debunked it as being anything. But, until I see stuff for myself, like I can't just rely on it not meaning anything. I do think that that is something noteworthy. I'm not saying that it means more, but it is interesting that, they have this conversation and you hear a little bit of they're going to get you for this, and what did you tell Adam, or I told Adam everything. That is something that kind of stands out as like, what was all that about? You know what I mean? So there's rumors going around about Mad Greek. Have you guys heard those? The owners they do this and that, and illegal dealings, I'll just say. And I just don't know. I don't think that it's fair to pull in owners of Mad Greek and say that they're a part of this ring of stuff going on in town. It's like someone's going to get sued with these theories if if there's no basis for them. Like, why would these business owners let their names be dragged and their business dragged online? So I just think that people are walking a fine line by trying to say, like, yeah, did you hear about them? Oh, yeah, they do this and that. And it's like, we don't know that. And all this stuff is from hearsay. Like, I have a very hard time with hearsay. So I just think that that was a theory going around that I'm not on board with yet. Like, the only thing that I thought was sort of strange about the Mad Greek place was that they were so anti-media and they didn't want anything to do with talk of Brian being there or the case in general in their business. But at the same time, can you fault a business for that? You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to have to deal with people poking around all the time, So it's like, is it just that they just don't want bad for business stuff, or is there more? Like right now I have no reason to think that there's more to those owners and whatnot. So I don't know. That was just another theory going around that I'm not on board with. Like, I'll listen, guys, and please let me know like what proof you have, and please don't say on this channel you need to watch this channel, because I've been like shown these channels like go here, go there, and everyone is saying like the same thing but in their own way, and it comes down to hearsay. And I'm like, ooh, it's just hearsay. Okay, so let me pull up. I do have some minute marks. Yeah, the trial can't come soon enough. I agree, because this is it's getting out of control. And again, for those who knew me and my channel, like I'm down to go down these rabbit holes, and I'm totally like, oh yeah, like I want something to spark my mind and like be like, oh wow, like I want an aha moment. I've yet to get that with anything. And yeah, Tom, I do think Papa Rogers is real. Like that's one of the theories that I could kind of say like, yep, I could see that totally. Like, I don't know. And in reference to what Cindy is saying here, everyone deals with death in their own way. People are pulling apart things that Steve has said, and it's like, it makes me like angry, because I'm like, when you've lost someone in the manner that he's lost his daughter, like, or when you lose someone to like an accident or something that's not like an illness you saw coming or whatever, a sudden death like hits differently. And I'm not saying that his grief is harder than other people's grief, but just think about it. Like a sudden death is like a rug being pulled out from under your feet and you just keep falling. That's what it feels like. And from someone who knows, like, that's what it's like. So when people are saying, he said in this interview that cops weren't called until 10 hours after they got a phone call. And then in this interview, he said that cops were called, or cops told them 6 hours. It's like, you don't know what you're saying when you're in like the first year of grief from an sudden death. He doesn't know, like, that's the thing, is like, in some of his interviews, I could almost see that he's sort of manic, like in a manic state. And it's wrong, I think, to hold people's words against them when they're in this type of state and manic state and, new grief. I don't think that things that he's saying all the time, like he might not even remember the things that he's saying. Like that's how it is. Like I can think back about like things that I was saying and doing like in my first year of grief from an accidental death or sudden death, whatever you want to say. And it's just you're in this state of mind that's just like not healthy. So when I see people pulling apart things that he's saying, I'm just like, okay. Callie says, time distorts as does reality when you suffer a sudden death from personal experience. I know. Exactly. And for those who don't know that, you're lucky. You're super lucky. But I don't think that you should just be pulling his words apart. Like, look at what he said here. Look what he said there. Like he wants justice for his daughter. That we all have to kind of know and see. So when I'm seeing people say like, but there's shady stuff going on and Steve's helping them cover it. I'm like, what? Why would he help that? If anything, he was kind of critical of like certain steps that law enforcement and the investigation was taking. Remember? Like at one point he says like, I think now the public should be aware that it is a male. Like we think that it's a male. And it's like, for one, like, please, don't say things that you're not supposed to say, because in another interview, he even said like, I think I've said too much. So, because they asked him, can you tell us who the target was? It sounded like they told Steve, because he said, I asked them if I could tell you guys and they said no. And I've probably said too much or I've probably said more than they want me to say anyways, so like there were interviews where I think, obviously grief and going through stuff like this is like different by day. And there were interviews where he was like more level-headed, not so manic. And he's saying things that, we're like, okay, like, so he is going to keep things hush-hush for the investigation, not because he's hiding shady police work. Now, I have heard people say, oh, well, Steve was there. Steve drove there before 911 got there or something like that. And I was like thinking about it. And when I say like I listen to theories and I need it to spark my mind, I think about like, he did say in his interview on Chronicles with Olivia that they got a phone call from a niece or family member saying that Kaylee was passed. And they were confused, obviously, and in shock and wondering what's going on. He calls law enforcement, he says. And then they told him, I'm sorry, we can't give you any information right now, and pretty much like hung up on him in a way. Now people have said like he drove there. I could see that happening. Like when people started kind of theorizing that, like I could see, because remember in one of those other specials, 60 Minutes or whatever, one of Kaylee's friends was on there and she said, I tried texting her in the morning. I tried texting her and she didn't answer and it was in the morning. So that's why, or something along the lines of it being in the morning. And that's why she didn't answer, because it had already taken place. And everyone was like, what did she mean by that? How did they know in the morning? Well, yeah, we already knew that they knew stuff before they called 911. Remember? Because, give me a second to pull it up. I mean, they told us that in a press release. I believe it is on November 20th. This was sent to me by CDT. She has shared it numerous times. Share screen. So yeah, people were saying like, I can't believe this. And people knew before 911 was called. People were there before 911 was called. And they were acting like they had like just discovered this. And back to what I'm saying about Steve, like, I think it's possible. I'm not saying it is the truth, but if we're going to kind of theorize and things were kind of sparking my mind a little bit, listening to the theories, I do not think that he's hiding shady work with the police. I want to make that clear. But I do think it's possible, like, once the police say, like, we can't give you any more information on that, like, of course, I could see it possible that a family member would be like, you know what, screw it, I'm driving there, you know? So did he drive there? We don't know. Was he there at the 911 call? We know that the 911 call was made from inside the house, from a surviving roommate's phone. We don't know who made the phone call. But it says right here, although it does say summons friends, it doesn't say summoned family or whatever, but here they've been telling us that the surviving roommates summoned people there. Is it possible that Steve was one of those people or was there? I mean, until trial, like, I can't say that it's not possible. I'm not going to say absolutely not. I think it's possible. Like, maybe he did go there. Like, if somebody told me, like, a cop over the phone, like, I can't give you more information, I'm not going to just sit home and be like, wonder what's going to happen. Like, I probably would get in my car and drive there and be like, you know what? I got to see this. So was it something where he gets there and, he had to break down the door? I don't know. I think that theory is possible, but I don't see the sense in kind of like going around talking about that being a possibility, because that's just something that we'll just have to wait and see. But, when they're talking about like people were there before 911, it's like, yeah, they've been telling us that. We all been wondering that, like, since November 20th, like right here. For some reason, they did summon people over there. But that's not new news. That's not a new discovery. It's just a huge question. And thank you, Tom Mann. Yeah, I agree that Papa Rogers' comments he was making, it's just, especially when he spoke about the sheath. Melissa Jade said, I think it's possible that Steve may have got in his car and headed that way. I don't think he would have got to the house prior to 911 being called or covering anything up. There's no way he would cover things up. I agree. Yep, Shay, good. Thanks for bringing that up, because that was exactly what I was saying to Alex Erickson and CDT in our private chat. She said, I think the tort claim filed by the Gonsalves family is going to be used against the damn coroner who told their teenage daughter graphic details of Kaylee's injuries. And like along the same lines, like, again, this is just theory, not saying this is true. What if it was like Steve went there and had to break the door down or something and saw things that like a father shouldn't have had to see? Because there were interviews where he was saying like graphic details about her injuries. But like you said, the coroner was offering up all these details to their teenage daughter and to the public. So, and to the family. So, did he see those from being there? I don't know. We don't know that. Or was it just the coroner giving out all these details? Either way, the fact that they've reserved the right to sue some entity in Moscow. I don't know like what exactly, but yeah. Okay, so moving right along, and thank you guys for listening to me ramble. If you're new here, my live streams are way more organized usually, and it's got way more visuals, but there was just some stuff I wanted to talk about. So I appreciate you guys being here. And thank you, Shauna, for becoming a member. All right, so moving on from this, let me just, I'm checking my notes. There are timestamps I want to play. Yeah, Florida bass fishing. Why would the coroner tell a minor those details? Apparently, she claimed that the teen told her she was ready to hear it. I don't know. I really don't know. It's strange. It's a strange element in all of this that the coroner was speaking out so much, and the mayor. It's just, I understand why people are like, oh, but I just don't think it's all those other speculative things that people are saying. That's all. But I'm open to it. I don't want to disrespect anyone's opinions, but I'm just not there yet. Now, this is a part that I know that a lot of people have their opinion about the white car shown. No problem, Corey. Thank you guys for being here. Now, a lot of people don't think that that white car shown is Brian's car. And I'm talking about the screenshot of a CCTV footage of Brian's car going by that gas station or whatever, right? There's a lot of people who are feeling like it is his car and, you know, have done the research to say like, yep, this is it, blah, blah, blah. And I'll show you a video done by Mob Crew where he was on with Ashley Banfield, where he does his own like overlay, etc. But I also want to say that there's people and researchers that I respect 100% who are saying absolutely not his car. I don't see it. Doesn't look the same. This blah, 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 you know, and I respect their opinion too. So I'm sort of like confused because, you know, it's a hard picture. It's a hard angle. Like it's not even like the video. It's a picture of a video and it's taken from somebody's phone. So it's just a strange angle. But I wanted to share this part in the documentary where after his arrest, the Chief Fry is on ABC and he's saying like, yep, that's his car. So I want to know what you guys are thinking as far as the chief coming out saying 100% that that's his car. And then I want to play the video that Mob Crew did where he lines it up with Ashley Banfield and he says, yes, I see this as Brian's car and this is why. Now, also, I want to say that Alex Erickson has done a review of the car as well, and other people have as well, and they don't think it's his car. So I just want to know why law enforcement is saying like, yep, that was him, blah, blah, blah. And then I have people who are very smart. You know, I give everyone credit for looking at this car in the angles that they have. Like people have overlaid it and done more work as far as like comparing than I have. But, you know, Chief Fry is saying here like, yep, that was him. So I just want to know your guys' thoughts on it. So just give me a second to play this little segment. And yeah, the gas station one, Wolfie, because I know that you guys over on Alex's channel have picked it apart very well and have done a lot of work and shown that like, no, I don't think that's his car. Now, when we're talking about questions in this case, you know, and the things that media or that law enforcement has told the media, which has been very limited, one of the things that they are saying is like, yep, that's his car. So I just wanted to play that where ABC is saying Chief Fry told us blah, blah, blah is his car. So I just want to play that. And I just want to play the interview that Chris from Mob Crew did with Ashley Banfield, where he like lays it out like, yep, this is her car or his car. This is why I think so. And I just want to know what you guys are thinking.
Chief James Fry confirming to ABC News this white Hyundai Elantra seen in surveillance video from a nearby gas station the night of the murders belongs to Kohberger, saying he was the only person inside. The car now in police custody after being taken from Kohberger's parents' home in Pennsylvania.
I want to check all of.
So that was ABC confirming Chief Fry has stated that that was his car, you know, with 100% certainty. Now I have other people that are saying like, no, I don't see it. Like, it's not his car. So what's going on? Like, I've seen people say like, law enforcement has tried to make it seem like it is only Brian and blah, 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 and they're framing Brian. I've seen people say that. And I'm like, okay. And just the car has been something that's been sort of up in the air. Now, this is from Mob Crew's channel. Check them out. He does really good visuals. I subscribe to him. Again, he's just a freelance editor. He's not a forensic law enforcement editing person, whatever they're called. But I did think that this was interesting. And Ashley had him on months ago about it.
For better or for worse, the mystery of that car has online sleuths working overtime to try to track down answers. And one of those folks is Chris Hall. He's the host of the Mob Crew on YouTube. Hall.
Where's the timpanist?
He's getting a haircut. Hall was able to triangulate the time and the place that a video camera on Linda Lane, right there, pointing, the big arrow is pointing right to it, that video camera captured the white Elantra traveling just east of the murder scene. The owner of that footage confirmed to News Nation that the video shows a white or a light color car heading west. That's to the left of your screen, on Taylor, and it's also towards the student's house, because you would curve around and down to the bottom of your screen and up to the student's house there. So that all happened between 2:45 and 3:15 a.m. He also confirmed police have seen that video. So they've got it. They know about it. And then Chris Hall zeroed in on another set of video cameras, the police body cam videos from a nearby underage drinking incident on a school field. The field is located along Taylor Avenue, and Chris Hall was able to see in the background of the police body cam that, yes, a car indeed drove right past those officers. Look at those headlights. That was 2:58 a.m. Now, of course, looking at it from here, it's really hard to tell what kind of car that is. It's in the dark, right? But Chris was able to zero in on it and then overlay a white Hyundai, an Elantra, and overlay it onto the car in question. And when you see that happen, you can judge for yourself whether or not you think this is a good match, whether this might be exactly the same.
Okay, so I just realized he's overlaying on that body cam, not the picture of the Elantra that the police are saying is Brian's. But either way, I think that it's interesting that they're saying that this could be Brian circling the neighborhood. Because remember, he goes around 4 times. But yeah, it's just, I don't understand, like, the thing too about the picture of the car from the gas station is it's like a strange angle. Whereas this is kind of easier for him to do the overlay. Let's finish it. But either way, my apologies. This is referencing to the body cam, not the camera picture. But why? I mean, that's the thing, is so many people who are very smart, and I respect their opinions, are saying the picture of it is not Brian's car. But Chief Fry is saying it is.
Car. Joining me now is Chris Hall himself. Chris, thanks for being on the program. So what was your reaction when you put 2 and 2 together and you ultimately put that overlay on top of the car that was speeding past the drinking incident?
Yeah, I was kind of excited. The fact that this car was driving at 2:58, which is according to the December 16 document that says that this car was spotted between 2:45 and 3:15. And here comes this car driving by at 2:58. And it's hard to tell the color, but as it's passing by towards the end, you've got the headlights of the officer's car facing east, and you can kind of get an idea that it might be a white car, or at least a light colored car. So it's a good possibility that may be the car, because that is right in the middle of that time frame.
It does look like a light car, that's for sure. You actually were able to kind of assess the grille and the lights when you did the overlay. What was your assessment of that? Did they look like a match?
I can't say 100%. I'm no a car expert, but I would say it's pretty close. I'm still doing some more research on it, but it definitely is a pretty close match for sure.
So what other clues? Because this is this new age we live in, right? So many interesting clues come from the cyber sleuth community. In fact, I have seen a serial killer tracked down by the cyber community before the police were able to. So I understand there's a lot of crazy stuff out there as well. But what other stuff have you been able to sort of look at and give a second glance to?
Like the grub truck video, I've been kind of dissecting that, get some more context to what's being said in the grub truck video. It's hard to hear what's being said, but there's a few things, because obviously there was kind of an altercation at the corner club bar, and then you've got Hoodie Guy and the tan hat guy there as well. But it seems like there's a little short interaction towards the end, just before the girls leave, where they kind of point towards their direction and say a few certain words. But yeah, it's really cool to go back and reassess, and every time you look at the video you figure out something new that you didn't see the first time, and that's what's amazing about having cyber sleuths looking into this kind of stuff.
It's a lot of eyeballs. It's a lot of eyeballs. And of course, there's a lot of video to look at as well. So it can be helpful, it can be hurtful. I totally get it. But boy, that was fascinating to see that car overlay. Chris Hall, thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, let me rephrase my question. Do you think that that was Brian's car in the body cam of that stop with the drunken students? Now that they're claiming that that's around the time, I think it was, so this video was December 21st. Was that after the PCA or before? But I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, we're told in the PCA that he circled the neighborhood 4 times. You know, on his 4th time was when he stopped and went in the house. So, you know, it would be interesting if that was his car. But here's my thing is why before his okay, so it's before. Okay, thanks guys. Why is Chief Fry so positive that that one picture is Brian's car, and yet so many of us are just not seeing it? Like people are like, oh, his windows aren't tinted. I've seen that one go around. Now, when he's in that traffic stop, you can see like his window, like it's really not like dark. I'll give them that, but does have like every car kind of has like a little bit of factory tint, but not like a lot. I 100% agree that the picture of the car from the gas station looks completely blacked out, and it does appear to have tinted windows. Now, did they darken the windows before they distributed that photo to people? Is that a possibility? Because I also have people saying that Brian's car's windows do look tinted, you know? So it's just one of those, where did Fry say this, Wolfie? I just played it on ABC. It's in my documentary. So check it out. And I included it in there. It says, Chief Fry has confirmed with us that video that shows from the gas station is in fact Kohberger's car. Like he was on ABC after the arrest and confirmed it with them. So did the news quote Chief Fry, or did he confirm on video? So they quoted him and he was on video, but he wasn't on video talking about the car. So he's in that segment with them, but the media quoted him as saying he has confirmed with ABC that that is his car. So take that for what you will. That's why I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, because I'm like, here we go. We don't have him verbally saying it in the interview, but they did an interview with him after the arrest. And ABC is saying, ABC is confirmed with Chief Fry that that is in fact Kohberger's vehicle in that gas station footage. So I don't know. I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention because I respect all your guys' opinions. And even though it's not Fry saying it, I mean, would he allow that information to be, I mean, that would be kind of wrong of them to kind of misquote him like that. But again, that's why I'm bringing it to your attention. Could that be a possibility? I mean, I don't see why they would have to add in like a lie to their story when they had him on their story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're fishing for more information to put out there because they had the interview with him about other subjects. But it is interesting that he wasn't on video saying that. I don't know, guys. And ABC, they're not Dateline. Dateline's NBC, right, guys? Or no? Either way, like, think about it. That's the other thing I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. While I'm over here saying, like, I can't follow these people that are going round and round with certain theories, I will also say, like, we need to keep in mind, like, which media sources have told us certain things. And if it comes out in trial that they lied, then we need to boycott these news agencies. So thank you, SRB. So we have Dateline NBC stating that Brian's sister thought that his glove wearing was suspicious and checked his vehicle and all that stuff. We also had them saying that he bought the knife on Amazon. They also said that he drove cross country with the knife after he had purchased it on Amazon. And what else did Dateline say? Either way, guys, I want us to take notes. Like we really need to hold these stations accountable. And the only way to do that is to stop watching them. So when it comes out in trial that no, his sister never thought that that was weird, that, or even knew that he was wearing gloves or whatever. And if it comes out that it wasn't purchased on Amazon, you know, like we're not going to forget. At least I'm not going to forget. So ABC is claiming that Chief Fry told them that that's Brian's car. NBC Dateline is claiming XYZ, everything I listed. Now I'm going to pull up another mainstream media source that I used for my documentary, and along the same lines, if this turns out to be false, you know, we need to boycott them. And I would hate to do so because it's Vinny from Court TV, and I've always found Court TV very, very accurate. For example, there was a rumor, and I want to say it was ABC, but I don't know 100%, so I'm not going to just put all my eggs in one basket there. But in reference to the Alex Murdaugh trial, they had put out a story, I think a year before the trial started, that said Maggie was looking into a divorce. And they put that story out there and people ran with it. And they're like, oh yeah, did you hear that? And they reported this and blah, blah, blah. We sat there through the trial and we waited for this, you know, revelation to be brought to us, and it never came up. People who were following the trial were asking other people, did they say something about her looking into a divorce, or did a divorce lawyer speak out about this? Because like people wanted to know. And then, you know, nothing came out in trial about her speaking to a divorce lawyer. There was nothing that was presented. Now, does that mean that it didn't exist? I don't know. I don't think. Sometimes they have evidence and they just aren't able to present it. Like the judge will say no, right, guys? So then the whole point of this is then Court TV during the trial goes to boots on the ground reporting, and they speak to the nail tech who did Maggie's nails. And the nail tech comes out saying like, yep, the prosecution contacted me and they wanted to know what I knew. And I told them that Maggie had confided in me that she was going to be looking into divorcing Alex. And she was doing Chanley's nails in this interview, and it was on camera. That's the other thing, guys, is like hearsay I will take more serious when I see you on camera. Like these channels that are like, okay, you can leave your camera off and we'll put a voice cover over your mouth, or you don't have to have your real voice, but they want you to trust them. Like, no, I need to like see you. Like there's ways that you can be a source and come across more legitimate, I guess. Anyways, this nail tech is on camera and she's stating that they decided not to call her because it wasn't sufficient enough evidence, her hearsay from the nail salon, that the divorce was talked about. Now, I believe that she was going to divorce Alex. That's just my opinion. That's just my personal feeling on the information gathered. My whole point is Court TV went to boots on the ground and they tried to follow up that rumor, which I respect. And they had her on camera and she said, yeah, they contacted me, but they didn't need me because it was just hearsay. So that was legitimate. That was legitimate reporting. I respect Court TV. And here I'm showing here, they're going to state that they heard it from a source that told people. Now, so that's the thing, is like, they're not saying that they heard it from their source. Their source told people that Kohberger was trying to DM these girls on Instagram. Now, this is a detail that we will find out in trial. Like we saw in Murdaugh trial, they had the Snapchat analyst come on and she was on the stand, you know, and she spoke about how they pulled up the video of the kennels and how they discovered that Alex's voice was heard on it. So here, if this whole thing is true, not only will it restore my faith in mainstream media like Court TV, which I do have respect for them. So I'm not even going to say that they're like along the same lines of these other stations that I don't know, because I've always respected Vinny and Court TV in general. So if this comes out that this whole rumor about him DMing them on Instagram comes out false, then that's another mainstream media source that I just feel like I have to stop watching. So let me just play this, guys, and just keep it in mind. Like, we're not going to know this until trial, but I do think that it's likely to be possible. And I think that Court TV would, I would like to say that they would kind of make sure that it's accurate before they report it, but we'll see, right?
2 weeks before the slayings of 4 you don't rent a Idaho students last November. The man now accused of killing them sent a series of messages to one of the victims on Instagram. An investigator familiar with the case tells People in late October, an account that authorities believe.
Now, I just want to pause it real quick because this is before the gag order, and you hear that an investigator close to the case. It's like, why are they speaking on this information?
Believe belonged to the killer, accused killer, sent a greeting to one of the female victims, the source says. When he didn't get a reply, he sent several more messages to her. He slid into one of the girls' DMs several times, but she didn't respond, the source tells People. Basically, it was just him saying, hey, how are you? But he did it again and again.
According to the affidavit from, and now the rest, you can watch on the documentary, but yeah, that to me just reinforces like my opinion. Like, even though like I'd love for that's the thing, is like these sources have been coming out even after the gag order, and all these mainstream areas and all that have been running with them. So there's like a part of me that says, like, is this gag order even doing anything as far as limiting like misinformation and speculation out there? Like, in reference to giving Bryan a fair trial, we all want that, obviously, because we don't want an appeal and we don't want BS, right? So, but at the same time, I'm like, we need this gag order, because if sources close to the investigation are out there telling media this type of stuff, like about the Instagram and stuff, like isn't that a problem? Wolfie said, don't hurt me, but do you know what time the gas station video was from? I believe 3:40 something in the morning, 3:48 maybe. Pointer Lover said, thank you for not bashing the victims and not calling them drug addicts and dealers. They aren't here to defend themselves. I'm sick of people running with that. You don't have to thank me for doing that. I mean, it's just, it blows my mind. I mean, you don't even know how many times I'm like messaging CDT and Alex and other people, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, where is this coming from? And then they tell me so-and-so on their channel heard it from someone who, did a voice disguise. What? Why are they disguising their voice? But they're out here like talking about XYZ. I don't know. But thank you so much for the super chat. You don't need to thank me for doing that. It's like, I just do what I think is right. I mean, obviously I'm out here saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was recreational use, just like every college house has. Like, you can't be ignorant to the fact of maybe that was going on. Now, we had also speculated on one of my other streams, the last live stream, maybe that delayed the 911 call because of stuff being in the house. I don't know. I can't say that that was the case either, but I will say that, anything is possible. And I'll also say, like, but we're not going to know for sure until the trial. So I don't know. I don't understand how we can just keep going round and around when the same answer still occurs. We'll find out at trial. Like, it's just best to wait. And, I felt, like I said earlier, I would be a hypocrite if I said that speculation shouldn't be done, blah, 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 because that's how, like, CDT and I built our channels, and we just sat there with you guys for hours talking about the Watts case. But that case was closed, and we had police interviews, we had the discovery, we had drone footage of the crime scene. Like, We actually had real evidence and things to back up our speculation and theories. Where here, people are pulling things out of the sky, it seems, and then they're deleting their content. And it's like, why are you deleting it? Like, I thought it was something. And then they're putting disclaimers out on community pages. Oh, well, I never said that was true. It's like, you put it out there, though, that it was. So if you put on your thumbnail, this is speculation or this might be false, that's one thing, but you're not. You're putting out there leaked audio, and I'm referring to Joseph Morris as well. Like, I don't mind naming him. So here was another part in the documentary that, we've heard over and over, and I just wanted to revisit because it's perturbing to me, if that's the word. How did Mark Furman get information from the surviving roommates? Because he's about to say here why they didn't call 911 or why she locked the door. Now, this interview was done before the arrest affidavit, and I want to point that out because he says in it, and she locked her door. How did Mark know that? Like, he's not in law enforcement at this point in his life, from my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's living in Idaho. He used to work in California as a cop, because he was on the OJ trial. How did he have, one, information from the surviving roommates, and two, how did he know the detail that she locked her door? Because that wasn't something that really came out as confirmed until the PCA. But how did Mark know? To me, when I was editing this, it's always been kind of strange. But now I'm re-listening to this, and the fact that he brings up an actual fact that we know for sure in the affidavit, because Dylan states she locked her door. I'm just kind of scratching my head, wait, who told him this? And how does he know? I don't know. To me, it's kind of strange that he came out on Fox saying things that no one knew at the time. I just feel like that's weird. Doesn't anybody else?
Story was they heard partying, they heard noise, but they just, as usual, said, there's partying going on, and they locked the door. I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee, but Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker.
So, he said he talked to one student, but that was in reference to the stalking rumor, which obviously was another rumor that was going around, which another question I still have is why was there so much up and down? No, there's not one, or it was isolated. Yes, there could be one, or we're investigating it. It was just all this up and down roller coaster was this stalker rumor. But what student told him that about the stalker, one? And then how did he get that information that only the cops knew about Dylan locking her door? So those were my questions there, because I'm just what? If he's referring to Xana, I would imagine it came from original comment made about Xana's dad changing her locks, maybe? I don't know. He's saying in reference to the surviving roommate. Oh, okay. You understand. Got it. So yeah, I don't know. He said they said that they heard noises, but they thought it was partying, locked their door. And where some of that's kind of that's not what it states in the affidavit. The part that does state in the affidavit is she locked her door. And so I'm just confused. How did he know that? It's just random to me. I just still think that that's so bizarre. Let me play, I think I have 2 more clips, and then I'm going to call it a day, guys. We've been going for a while, and you guys have listened to me ramble and just complain. And again, I'm so open to any theory, but I need more. I need more from people with the hearsay, and I need to see this stuff laid out in trial, because we have the defense claiming that they have exculpatory evidence. I want to know what that is. Lay it out. You know what I mean? So, But I will also say, I think that the affidavit is solid from what I've seen. And there's been numerous experts that have come out and said, like, yes, they have a lot against him, or it's pretty solid so far, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go with the experts' opinions there. Now, here is in reference to the 911 call. Aaron Snell from Idaho State Police claiming that it was an unconscious female. And then he corrects himself and says person. People in my comment section, and obviously myself, have wondered, did he accidentally slip up and state that the unconscious person was female? And then he says person, to kind of keep it a mystery still, or I don't know. I just find it interesting. You guys let me know what you think.
911 call came in for an unresponsive female, an unresponsive person.
911 call came in from an unresponsive female and then says unresponsive person. HVAC is for vents and stuff, not plumbing, as far as I know. But that was strange that was there that day, right? Hello, true crime, Swedish sleuth. I know, 6 months. And I don't think that the trial will start on time. But that's just my opinion. So I just wanted to kind of close things out with a report from Ashley Banfield from over the weekend. It's in reference to the fact that they were pulling data from some app, like a running app. I'm sure you guys saw it. It was like court paperwork that were filed. And then this one is just talking, kind of following up about like a Snapchat one possibly. So let me play this and check my notes and check chat and see if there's anything else we want to talk about, okay?
For data for all the housemates between June 23 and August 1st. Why those dates? They were murdered on November 13th. Why June 23 and August 1st? That's curious. They wanted all communications, locations data, user content, communications between accounts and third parties, and if any accounts had been suspended. That's curious as well. From TikTok, the authorities had warrants that looked at bryankohberger's account from June 1st straight on, no end date. June 1st onward. They wanted, quote, everything. They wanted all content, location data, anything he deleted, the people he followed and unfollowed, the people he blocked, his privacy settings, and his search history. And for his fitness tracking, they wanted the biometrics and the geolocation.
So that's what it was. It was a fitness app that will be able to track things, etc. Silent Murmur said, I thought it was a guy's voice that said they're going to get you for that, to Kay. Are you referring to the video before the grub truck? I believe that was Hoodie Guy who said that in the video of them walking. If that's what you're referring to. But yeah, so this data pull, whatever they're pulling from this fitness app, it's just good to know that they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's and going through every little scenario. We know, and it's stated in the documentary, that he used to go on runs a lot, sometimes at night, a lot of times at night, actually, his running partner said. So it's noteworthy that, they're checking a fitness app, because it could actually point in the direction of him maybe jogging around the house, or, there's got to be something, and they feel that way possibly.
For bryankohberger. Most of the details, though, anything more than that, sorry, folks, got to wait for more hearings. You got to wait for a trial. And at that, we now know at least October 2 is the target. Whether that will be continued, I highly suspect it. Don't know. But this is the perfect time to bring in Alex Capriello, News Nation's national correspondent. He's been working on this. So, Alex, what was it that stood out to you? That's a lot of reading. I understand when they drop 6 big documents like that, but what did you see in that?
Yeah, I think you hit it head on right there with this word about intimate. This information, these statements that they are wanting to keep redacted and sealed. Really, this speaks to the type of information that they are specifically looking for, highly sensitive in nature. When we think about these communication companies like Snapchat, Reddit, TikTok, these are things that teenagers want to keep private. Who's talking to who? Who's following who? Who are you corresponding with? But ultimately, when it is being turned over to law enforcement and to the state, when they're trying to build their case, all this information is going to be spilling out, not to us, at least at this point, but eventually law enforcement's going to be combing through it, digging through all of these details, these highly sensitive conversations, perhaps, and trying to build the best case possible.
So, Alex, I sort of really hung on the Snapchat dates because I thought that the dates were weird. I tried to think of everything I could have, but the authorities wanted Snapchat data from the victims and the housemates between June 23rd and August 1st. Why not all of August, all of September?
Yeah.
All of October up to November 13th. It is just very, very specific, that window. Any hints there?
Yeah, I think you were right to key in on that, Ashley. And I think for a specific reason, they are looking at June 23rd to August 1st because they already know something that's not immediately clear to us, but based on maybe past interviews law enforcement have done or past search warrants, they found that date in specific, June 23rd on Snapchat through August 1st. Something happened that they want more information about. Maybe it was a new connection on Snapchat, a new friend request, or maybe back and forth, messaging. And so I think you're right there. June 23rd is very specific, right? Not June 1st, not June 30th, June 23rd. Something beginning then happened. And that's what law enforcement is very specifically digging into.
And the end date of August 1st just has my spidey senses freaking out. Okay, then the other question I had for you is that the state actually made requests that they get more time in every one of these search warrants. They wanted it extended from the standard 14 days. Was there anything about that made sense to you, or that, par for the course, a lot of data, or did you see something else?
Right. Yeah. I was speaking to my law enforcement sources about this. And basically, what I learned is that when a search warrant is executed for one of these mega communication companies, it's not the only one that they get, right? Thousands of these search warrants and subpoenas come in through their doors each and every year. And so it takes a lot of time. One, because they have so many others that they have to deal with. But two, there's just a lot of information that they have to find and hand off. 14 days just may not be enough time, especially when you're considering multiple data points from multiple people, right? In the case, we have 4 victims and their 2 roommates plus an accused murderer. So that's a lot of information that they need to gather. And the state, the prosecution, can only use what's been handed over, right? So if in 14 days, law enforcement only gets about half of what they were looking for, it's enough reason for them to request that extension, give these communication companies more time to give them the information they need to build the best case.
Yeah, I'm spacing on the number of terabytes, but it's something like 52 or 56 or something like that. It's basically Everest in data. So we can forgive anybody who needs a few extra days, I guess. Alex Capriello, thank you. Long week for you. Really appreciate this. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button.
I do want to play the other one that they did about data pulls from that running app too. So give me a second. And also, if we could, I welcome all opinions and all that in chat, but if you're going to block me and then blow my chat up, like that's not cool. So anyone named Clay has blocked me. I can't see any of their comments, but if a mod could just block them, I guess, because yeah. So I know you guys have probably seen this. It's got like 95K views, but I do want to kind of rewatch it. It's the newest information kind of talking about his running app that they've decided to pull data from. So again, it's good to know that they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's. So again, I just want to thank you guys for being here. I'm curious who blocks the host, LOL, WTF, right? And that's the thing too, guys, is like just behavior like that. point blank, if your theories have good evidence and basis behind them, why would you block somebody who obviously has a different opinion than you? Because from what I've seen from people's comments back to them, they're kind of saying like, where's your proof of that? Or that's just rumor, or that's hearsay, Clay. And I'm like, what is Clay saying? Oh, I can't even see them. So if you're going to block the host, it's just like, why can't you stand by your word? And why do you have to block, the creator? It's like, you're obviously threatened about my opinion on your comments, in my opinion. And also, and that just goes back to people who put information out, get a bunch of views and ad revenue and money and all that, and then delete their video and then say like, oh, well, I never said it was factual. Then don't put it out. This is an active case. We haven't had a trial. Like, why? I don't understand that. And yes, bye, Clay.
Well, overall, I was very happy to see that they are when put out a search warrant for the Strava information. I've always thought that was very important because he's a runner. I think it's also important because the prosecution is going to have to show or want to show that the person who committed this crime is in good shape, good physical shape to commit these heinous acts that require a lot of physical ability. So that stood out. The June 23rd date certainly stood out because they've already gotten search warrant information from the time in August backwards. But why did they feel the need to do these search warrants for not only Snap, but simultaneous AT&T to the 23rd? It stands out. They found something. They want to corroborate it.
And what about the whole August 1st? Nothing to see past then. That was weird to me. There were still several months before the murders.
Well, I believe that those documents were in another document display that we saw early on that included those dates, as I recall.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Again, however many terabytes, I can't keep it straight. All right. So, Sarah, I always feel weird when I see requests for the digital footprint of victims, and in this case, victims and the housemates. And I should be really clear that this was like prosecution. This was investigators. This isn't the defense, right? This is the prosecutors asking for all of the communications of the victims. So walk me through what they're looking for. Are they trying to troubleshoot, deflect what the defense might bring at them? Or are they looking through any portal they can to find motive?
Well, maybe, but also you have to remember that, these digital footprints are in all cases now these days, but most people don't even communicate by cell phone, they communicate by DM. But the idea here is that sometimes they don't find it in one person's account, they might find it on the other party's account. So there's a way to sort of, it gives them the ability to pair this information up. But I do agree with Jennifer in that I too am very thrilled that this indicates to me that there is a very comprehensive investigation being done, which is really good for both sides. And I think that, remember that Kohberger might have an alibi. Looking at the victims is important also to potentially other suspects. So this makes me just as happy as it does Jennifer. But the idea of the language that stuck out at you, Ashley, it doesn't to me at all. I went back to the Idaho Rules of Court 32I, which is sort of where this all comes from for sealing and redaction. And this is one of many, these 4 reasons of cause that they've listed in this order is part of a longer list of bases for which a document can be sealed or redacted. And essentially, when you read this code, it's not about, oh, bingo, aha, there must have been some evidence, and therefore we need to redact and seal. It's not about that at all. It's about whether potentially what might come up in the returns is a part of a protected class of information. And when you read the code, Ashley, it's really all about privacy and protection and the integrity of the investigation, privacy of individuals, not just as to identifiers, but also as to conversations, photographs, videos. I mean, the breadth of these warrants is so vast. And, I think in the Dateline piece that Jennifer was on, there was an interview with a woman that had met Kohberger on a dating app, for example, right? I mean, those conversations, I imagine, we're sitting here saying he's incel. We don't know that. And he had this conversation with this woman on this dating app. That's private. And that's private to a person that's not even part of this case. So when you look at it, I know I can understand why it jumps out at you that, oh, intimate, highly objectionable to a reasonable person, but it really is part of a broader code section that protects privacy.
Makes perfect sense. And I'll just reread it just because you gave that great explanation. The documents contain highly intimate facts or statements, the publication of which would be objectionable to a reasonable person. I actually went right to the privacy of the victims and the housemates in this. I didn't go to the privacy of Kohberger. But Sarah, just to be clear, you're saying it would protect the privacy of all parties. Is that what that meant?
Yeah, all parties and third parties too, right? So if I was a woman, saying, "Hey, Brian, you're sexy," or whatever, sending whatever people do, those illicit photos that they do on apps. I mean, nobody wants that stuff out there. So I think it's the overall protection of privacy, of financial information, of identifiers, all of it. And, you can't just seal a document or redact a document without stating why. And so I think that in this order, the court is specifying the categories under this code that some of this, information in the inventories might fall under. Can I just make one more point, Ashley? Because I think
Absolutely.
it's important. That depends. I don't take lightly that the detective, the IO, who wanted additional time on the returns, like 3 weeks. He said that for 3 weeks he's undergoing training. 3 weeks, I think Jennifer would agree, is not a short amount of time for training in law enforcement. And so I would really cross-examine him on what the hell is this training about that you're doing in the midst of this high-profile investigation? Did you not have forensic training before? This was forensic training. So to me, that's a big question on cross-examination.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
All right, let me just sum up my thoughts. Basically, watch the documentary. There might be something that'll stand out to you guys that you find interesting. Listen to them say, Chief Fry confirmed with us that this is indeed Bryankohberger's car from the gas station footage. Again, I'm not 100% there because that picture is awful. And it's like a picture of a video. So like I need to see it at trial. I need to see like exactly every single thing that is stated in the affidavit. I do think the arrest affidavit is solid. I think there's a lot of information in there. I think it's way more information than we've gotten in other cases and other affidavits and other arrests. I am open to theories, and I am popping in and out of different channels and different theories to keep an open mind. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, like very little is sticking as far as like a likelihood for me. And I'm just being honest, and I'm 100% open to saying like, wow, that's groundbreaking. That changes my mind. That could be the exculpatory evidence that Bryankohberger is referring to, because remember, they're claiming that. And he said when he got arrested, was there anybody else arrested? Like all those things stick out in my mind. So those things have piqued my interest. But as far as like, this is this type of house, or no, this is that type of house, and they were doing this and they were doing that, and they flushed this and that, and Mad Greek, blah, 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 blah. I'll take it in, but nothing's really like absorbing and sticking because I keep saying, okay, and where is this coming from? Hearsay, rumor, blah, blah, blah. Now, as far as rumors, interesting that I showed earlier in the stream, Ethan's parents, 3 days into the investigation after the slayings took place, stated there is no, the rumors that are going around are completely false. There is no love triangle. And let me just get the exact quote. The things that are being said are 100% not true. There's not drugs involved. There's not some weird love triangle. Ethan was staying the night at his girlfriend's house, who was one of 5 girls who lived in the home. So those were the rumors that were being spread that the family wanted to shut down immediately. Why were those rumors the ones being spread? Well, we might have to find out. But local students are not proof. Local students are hearsay. Let's just make that clear. Now, until we see physical proof and evidence, I can't, there's how many kids in that house that were just about to graduate and were graduating on time. Like I know people who graduated like in their late 20s, like with a 4-year degree. These students were not that. They're not taking time off because they need to go to rehab or, and I'm not shaming people who take that path and journey. Like I know people who have, and then they get their degrees later in life. These kids weren't that, it seems, and if they did experiment with stuff like that, then I think that it was like a normal recreational type experimental period or phase in their life. If I am wrong and it comes out that the cartel is involved and that Steve G had been covering things up for the shady cops, like I will 100% be like, wow, like I need to be aware that, you know, corruption is way more prevalent than I thought it was, you know, and I will 100% come back and say like, that could be, or I'm sorry, you know, and you guys were right, and that this is twisted. But I just can't go down those avenues based off of hearsay. Like I can go down rabbit holes and like I'm somebody who's totally down for a conspiracy theory. Like I don't think that JFK was killed by a lone shooter. Like I have an open mind. I'm able to see things on both sides and then think for myself. But I just am not there with the theories that are going around. And I just think that a lot of it is just opportunistic. Like, oh, I have 100 and something subs. I'm going to come out with some leak audio. Suddenly I have thousands of subs, but I'm going to delete that video, you know, after I gain all these subs. Like to me that, and just like mainstream media has come out with, oh, our sources are telling us blah, blah, blah. Like I walked away from things because I was like, this is not substantial. Like I can't rely on so-and-so's sources on this news station when they're getting like hundreds of thousands of views a day. Like, of course that would like keep somebody, that's like motivation for someone to just keep things going. Like, oh, let me just say this and I'll just say a source said that, or let me just have somebody come on who lives in the area, but you don't have to show your face or your voice and blah, blah. Like there's just both sides, like mainstream and sleuthers, if you want to call them that, you know, but it is just my opinion. Shea Benet says, yep, I like conspiracy, but some stuff is detrimental to the victims' characters and their families. It's painful. Yeah, it's plain awful. Yeah, very reckless and immoral. I think so too. As soon as I saw like I said, when you're in a manic state of grief and loss, like you and your words are being used against you, like I don't know. I just as much as I say, like, it's interesting, Ethan's parents, like, trying to discredit those rumors that were going around, you know, what they very well could just say, like, no, this is just wrong. It's not true. And they could be right. Or maybe they were saying that because people have commented in my documentary saying, like, sounds like the parents are in denial. There absolutely was this and that going on. It's like, we don't know that until trial. How can you come out and say this about these victims? Like, we don't know that. And again, if I'm wrong and it comes out in trial that the cartel and all this stuff was going on, I will eat my words 100%. And I have no problem saying like, wow, like I was wrong. And then I will take in consideration everything that these channels and the mainstream media, even like I'm referring to the Dateline sources. This isn't just me talking about channels. Like this is about the sources, quote unquote. And why sources close to the investigation were saying certain things too, you know, like I'm just kind of confused. And I'm also confused about that Mark guy knowing certain things about Dylan locking her door before the affidavit came out. Like there's just a lot of weird stuff. I will give it that. And then now another thing before I depart is like, it seemed like everyone was on the page that like they had the right guy. And then like recently it just seems like people are like, I don't know. We'll see, guys. But the same people that say there's no evidence against Brian say there is evidence of a cover-up. It's so bizarre. And I will be the first to discover, or I'll be the first to go through a cover-up and you know, lay it out there. You know, like I believe that Marilyn Monroe was also, her life was ended by somebody else too, you know? Like I have no problem saying certain theories and going against what a death certificate says, like Kurt Cobain, like that case needs to be reopened. FBI won't do it. Suspicious, you know, like I have no problem calling things out. But I'm not going to drag them until we get to trial and we see things. I'm not going to speak on certain theories. I need something to stand on before I go down that rabbit hole. So, you know, you listen to our Watts conversations for hours on end on CDT's channel and my research here, and it's very speculative, but the theories are coming from the discovery pages we went through, like over 1,500 police interviews, hundreds of, all these stuff that hundreds, but like a lot of hours. And that's where we pulled our theories from. But when this is taking place before the trial, like I have a hard time. But at the same time, I tried to bring you guys today certain stuff that stood out to me as like, that's weird. 100% weird, and stuff that I noticed once I laid it out to edit in the documentary. I was like, there were things that made my eyebrows raise. And I know that those questions will be answered easily with police interviews, the 911 call, and just everything we'll learn in trial. So I'm able to be patient, and like I'll come out and talk about this case with you guys, like when I have something to talk about. Like today, like I am so happy you guys are here and listen to me ramble, because most my live streams are more organized and like visually stimulating, I guess you would say. And I don't just sit here and talk, but I needed to unpack a lot of stuff like after editing that and all the theories that I'm listening to. And I'm going to keep listening. Like, I'm not saying like, don't watch this and I refuse. Like I said, I will listen just like I did in other cases to other opinions. But if nothing is sticking, like I'm not going to stick around. You know what I mean? And I do get recaps from my moderators behind the scenes if they're watching it, and they will source it and be like, yep, they showed evidence, but mostly they're saying like, well, no, it's just hearsay. So that's where we're at. Thank you guys for being here. Have you guys watched, and for my replay viewers, comment down below, have you guys watched that ID channel documentary about Natalia Grace, A Curious Case of Natalia Grace? And it's about that adoptive daughter, and she was on Dr. Phil. They didn't know if she was a child or an adult, because she has a rare form of dwarfism. I don't know the full medical term. It's very like rare, but she has it. And anyways, there's just been this true crime documentary that came out on the ID network and on Hulu, and it's just blown my mind. And I've been down that rabbit hole, but I don't know if you guys are watching it or would want to talk about it. I wanted to kind of discuss it with like maybe another creator or something, or, if you guys are watching it, maybe I could put something together. But either way, let me know if you've seen it. It's strange. It's bizarre. Yeah, it is a lot of twists and turns, definitely. And yeah, Party Cake said the dad creeped me out. He was a character. Like, wow. So anyways, guys, we'll talk soon. You'll see me on the YouTube streets. CDT goes live. I'll be in her chat, and Alex Erickson. I make my rounds so that I stay informed on reliable sources and critical thinkers. So I will see you guys around, and I'll keep you updated when we go live again. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, guys. We'll talk soon.